Hello, welcome back to the woods, and welcome back to another simple stick project, or should I say projects. Now, for those of you who've been with the channel for a while, you probably know if I want hot water out in the woods, 95% of the time what I tend to do is I just pour water in my metal mug, as you've just seen me do, and shove it in by the fire. It's simple, quick, and for what I need it for, boiling water in a hurry, it works. But there are times, if I'm cooking for example, where I need a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more adaptability from my setup. I may want to put water onto a fast boil, but then that will do that. But then I may also want to perhaps have it at a simmer, which is quite difficult to achieve when you're doing it in a metal cup on the ground. And that's where cooking rigs come in, and that's what I'm going to look at. I'm going to show you a couple of different ones that you can use that are fairly quick to knock up out of sticks that you find out in the woods. Now, when we're using cooking rigs, we tend not to use a metal mug. We tend instead to use something like this, a cooking pot with a bail arm that allows it to be suspended over the fire. Now, all of these rigs are super simple. You can make them using a saw and a knife, and that's pretty much all you need. The rest of the materials you find all around you. I've kept them very, very simple, as I said. And for our first one, as well as your pot that you're going to need, you are also going to need a small hooked peg, okay? Chamfered on the top with a point on the end to allow it to be hammered into the ground. You're also going to want a long pole of some description. I've gone for my journey in stick in this particular case because it's fairly long and straight, and it's something that I have with me. And the last piece you're going to need is a log. So set up for this one is fairly simple. I take my pole, I've got my fire, I then work out roughly where I need this pole to be. So I'm going to lay that down by the fire. Once I've done that, I'm then going to take my peg, and at the base end I'm going to hammer this in so it covers, this hook on the side covers the end of my pole. Now with that done, this bit comes in next, and all this does is this sits underneath the pole. In use, it's dead simple. All I do is take this log and I roll it back that way, and that raises this end up. I can then hook my pan onto the end like so, and it allows me to raise my pan over the fire to the height that I need it. To make it go up and down, all I do is roll this log backwards and forwards. It's a very, very simple system, and it's quick and easy to do. So there you go, super simple. Your next one, well, for that one you're going to need a longish stick with a little fork in the top. Ideally it wants to be a straight stick with a side branch coming off, that way as you're hammering it in it's not going to split. Also going to use my pole again, and on the back of it you'll see there are these little bird's beak notches cut all the way down, and those are going to be quite vital for this one. So for this one, what I'm going to do is take my fork stick, I'm going to drive it in next to the fire, and it wants to be probably a couple of hands width away from the fire. So in use, all we do is we hook our pan onto our stick with our notches in. We then rest it, like so, against that stick. If we want to make it boil quicker, well, you just move it down to your next notch, and that way it's closer to the heat source. If I want to take it back up to a simmer, again, I can just move it up. Very simple. Now for our next one, again, very simple. I'm going to use the same components. My pot, my journey stick, my long stick with a little side branch, and the little peg that I used in the first one. I'm also going to need one other item. That's a length of cord. The first job as well, I'm going to tie this to my peg and to the end of my stick, right at the end. Not the end that I'm going to suspend the can from, the opposite end. So with that done, and the cord wound around the ends of the long stick, I'm going to take my fork stick, I'm going to hammer it in between the peg and the fire. Then with that done, it's going to take that, and you suspend it on there. The cord anchors it to the peg. You see the cord's wound round, and at the moment the pan's quite high above the fire. So I'm just going to hook that on, like so. And then, if I want to lower it, well, I just take a turn off, like so. If I want to raise it, I just wind it round again until, and there you go. Nice simple, quite adjustable little pot system. So there you go, 3 very simple ways of suspending a pan over a fire. All quick and easy to do. I will do another video. Again, it will be a simple stick project, and I'll show you a couple more of these that, again, very versatile. In between now and then, what you need to do is look up tri-sticks and how to make them. They're a great project, and it will show you some of the cuts that you're going to need for your next simple stick project. Now, if you enjoyed this video, then remember, hit that thumbs up button, and if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. If you look in the description box down below, you'll find a link over there to my Etsy shop where you can buy my Greencraft patches, among other things. There are some water filter bags coming up very, very soon. So keep an eye on the shop, and there is also links over there to my social media, so my Instagram and my Facebook accounts. There's also a link over there to Patreon if you want to get involved with the channel. Also, if you want to get discounts and an early heads up in the shop, then go over there and become a patron. I think that's everything. I'm going to finish getting that water boiled. I'm going to get a cup of tea. I've been Neil, and until next time, stay safe in the woods.